So, I did the one part that I wanted to fix for the what if Naruto was half Hyuga, half Uchiha, or part Hyuga, part Uchiha. And this is the legitimate Naruto what if I'm doing. What if Naruto was a girl and part Kitsune? And if no one knows what a Kitsune is, just think of the nine-tailed demon fox. A Kitsune is a fox with multiple tails. And the amount of tails tells them how strong they are. So Naruto goes through life like normal, but instead of getting only half of the nine tails sealed in her, she gets the full nine tails sealed in her because she's part Kitsune. And since Minato knew that already, he didn't bother doing the Reaper Death Seal, so he still survived. And since the Nine Tails sense a familiarity with Naruko, and that's, yes, her name is going to be Naruko, the generic female name for the generic name for female Naruto. And the Nine Tails felt the presence of a fox in her, so he didn't attack her. But he did attack Kushina and Minato to not be sealed again. And Kushina jumped in the way of the fox's claws because she was already dying from the Kyuubi's being ripped out of her. And Minato sees that she's dying, so he embraces his love one more time and seals the Nine Tails into his daughter. And so Minato doesn't die in this one. So Hiruzen runs up and sees Minato cradling Kushina's dead body and Naruto. He asks the fourth, what happened here and who is this little one? And points at Naruto and Minato says, "This is Naruto, my daughter. But with how many enemies I have, I cannot take care of her because Kushina's dead now." And he starts crying and says, "I'm going to give her to the last person I fully trust in this village." And he knows Kakashi is close by. He says, "Kakashi, I know you're there." So Kakashi comes out and bows and says, "How may I serve you, Lord, for fourth?" And Minato says, "I want you to take care of my daughter for me. You are relieved of Anbu duty. And I will be paying you the wages of a S rank every year. Just enough for you and Naruto," which he says Naruto Uzumaki instead of Naruto Namikaze. He tells him that I'm paying you the wages of an S rank every month so you can survive with her because of this, and then hands Kakashi a scroll. And Kakashi, confused, takes the scroll, and Naruto, Minato, and Kakashi all go to the Hokari's office, and Minato puts a sound barrier up and tells Kakashi what she is. She's half human, half Kitsune. And Kakashi's visible eyes widens because he still has the Hitate, the headband, Konoha headband, over his left eye. And so his visible eye widens and asks, aren't kitsune myth? And Minato says, no, they're not. They are not myth, nor are they legend. They are real. And Naruko is the second kitsune in this village. And Kakashi asks, how is that possible? Because neither you nor your wife were kitsune. And Minato starts chuckling at that and says, are you sure about that? Why don't you use that eye of yours and look at me a little harder? And Kakashi uses his Sharingan, and since Sharingan can dispel Genjutsu for the wielder, he looks at Minato and concentrates, and all of a sudden, ears pop out of Minato's head, and two tails pop up from behind Minato. And Kakashi jumps back a little, saying, wait, you're a kitsune? And Minato says, yes, I am a kitsune, and I am a special kind of kitsune, and because I am a kitsune born in human form. I'm a rare kitsune because I have the abilities of a human, but the power of a kitsune. That's why I was so fast with the Hiraishin. And we're just going to play it off as, since she has the demon fox in her, she has the powers of a kitsune. And Kakashi understands, and then he asks, what is the scroll for? He says you must hand that to Naruko when she becomes a Chunin, because you are going to be her father figure. And it hurts me to say this, but you cannot tell her that I'm her father, her biological father. And since Kakashi understands all of the enemies that Minato has made, he gladly accepts and takes Naruko home, which he still has. Kakashi still has his father's mansion. Well, I think it was a mansion. Might have just been a really big house. But he still has his father's old home with plenty of rooms, because he used to live with Obito and Ren when they were in a Genin squad. And he lived with them because he was lonely and they could see that. And he never said anything about it because he was the quiet Kakashi that had nothing wrong with him. So Naruto grows up like Naruto with the hate of the village for killing many people, but not as much hate because the Lord Fourth didn't die and still stopped the Kyuubi. And everybody at this time knows that the Kyuubi was released and was sealed in Naruko because the Kyuubi can't die. So all the villagers are like, okay, we can't kill the Kyuubi, so we can just give nasty glares, and because that is the now body of the Kyuubi. It's not an actual person, it's just the body of the Kyuubi. And they think that Naruko, the kind and gentle soul that she is the body of the Kyuubi trying to pass off as a human. And for Naruko's every birthday for Naruko, she gets a visit from Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, and Minato Namikaze, which she still doesn't know Minato is her actual father, she calls Kakashi dad, and the Uchiha massacre still happens, but Minato is not let in on this, so he thinks that uh, Itachi is still rogue. But the plan of the Uchiha massacre was orchestrated by Danzo, and Hiruzen knows that. So after the massacre, Sasuke is moved in with Kakashi because he needs someone to take care of him, because it happened a little bit earlier. It happened when they were 6 instead of, I think they were 10 when it originally happened. So it happened when they were 6. So he still remembers the look that Itachi gave him with the Mangekyo, and the sentence of, you need to be filled with rage, and you need to come find me when you have my eyes. So he's still the brooding Uchiha we know and love from normal Naruto, but he's less brooding because he now has a new family with Naruko. He's still distant, but Naruko brings him into like the family gatherings, the birthdays. She's still the bundle of joy that Naruto is when he has friends. So her life is not filled with complete and absolute hate. It's just filled with a little bit of hate. And it is Naruto's 8th birthday, and Minato and Hiruzen both walk into Kakashi's home, and Hiruzen has a stick behind him, and Minato has a scroll with him. And Minato gives the scroll to Naruto and says there's everything a beginning shinobi needs. And Hiruzen says this is a bow staff, and once you reach the last year of your academy, come to me and I'll teach you how to use it. So Naruto knows how to mold just a tiny bit of chakra because Kakashi has been teaching her chakra control exercises and Sasuke chakra control exercises. But since she's part Kisune and she has the Nine Tails, she has so much chakra. But it's like canon because of the Nine Tails. With the normal Kitsune chakra, she can mold chakra perfectly fine, like a normal human. But the Nine Tails makes her chakra levels 5 times what they normally are. And she still has no tails. And in the scroll with the that Minato gave her, it had chakra paper, 5 pieces of chakra paper, with the instruction above the seal that had the chakra paper in it, saying, put all 5 pieces of chakra paper on each finger. So one on her thumb, one on her pointer, one on her middle, one on her ring, and then one on her pinky, and then push chakra into it when she tests her chakra nature. And later that day, when Minato and Hiruzen leave after celebrating Naruto's birthday, they do the same thing for Sasuke, so they still have somewhat of a family, and not be just full of hate, because they've seen shinobi that get lost when they're full of hate. Naruto takes the chakra papers, does what the scroll instructs, and pumps chakra into the chakra papers. One gets wet, one crumbles away, one crinkles up, one gets cut in half, and the last one catches on fire. The one that was cut in half was then cut in half 5 more times. The one that was covered in water starts dripping water. The one that was crumbled away is pretty much evaporated or decayed at this point. And the one that was caught on fire leaves a fire left on her finger. The one that crinkled just sits there. And Kakashi, seeing their reactions, looks at the chakra paper and sees that the wind element is her strongest, and thinks, okay, so her mother must have been a wind user. And then thinks back to all the times Kushina was known as the Red Death, and remembered that she could cut someone in half without even touching them with a blade. And he's like, oh, yeah, her mother was a wind user. So, by this point, Kakashi has slowly grown more attached to Anko. Don't know why, but this just makes sense. He's stopped reading the Ichi Ichi Paradise, and instead went out with Anko. And Naruto has grown attached to Anko, and Sasuke has not grown attached to Anko. He's grown attached to Kakashi because he views him as a teacher, and after a year of Anko and Kakashi dating, Kakashi was thinking of making it official with Anko, and Naruto, living with Kakashi for so long, can see his tells and asks, why haven't you done it already? She's waiting. And he looks at her confused. Then she goes, you were thinking of making it official with Anko. And then Naruto goes into a whole spiel about how Anko has already been liking you since you started dating. And he goes, how do you know? And she goes, seriously, Dad? I've lived with you my entire life? And he goes, yeah, true. So you do know my tells. Then he says, I'm gonna up your training if you tell her. And Naruto pales at this, thinking, oh god, I don't want to deal with his training. So she keeps her mouth shut, and another 6 months pass, and then Kakashi makes it official. And after Kakashi makes it official, he comes home with a smiling Anko, and Naruto, seeing the smiling Anko, immediately knows what happened. So Naruto asks, so when are you moving in, Mom? And without even turning around to see Anko, she just saw a smiling Kakashi come through the door, and then looked at her food, which she still is addicted to ramen. And Kakashi starts laughing, and Anko is just completely confused, and Kakashi says, she's the one that kind of pushed me to do it. Mm-hmm. And Anko looks at Naruto and mouths, thank you. And Kakashi didn't pick up on that because he was still scratching the back of his head with his eyes closed. Just nervous that he'd get hit. And Naruto mouths back, "You're welcome," and then goes back to her food. And then one, and then Naruto thinks, "I'm gonna have to whip out the scroll that Lord Forth gave me." Or no, she'd think he's an uncle because of how much he comes over and how he acts near her. So she'd think Uncle Minato. But he's like, "At least I'm part of the family." And he's like, maybe I shouldn't tell her that I'm her actual father. But it hurts me to see this, that I can't actually be with her because she's my daughter and I want to be near her because she reminds me of Kushina a little. And Naruto pulls out a scroll that had kanji on it, and she starts copying the kanji. It's a little messy, but she activates the kanji, and a sound suppressant seal goes around the house, and she starts yelling as loud as possible to see if Kakashi can hear her. And Kakashi, he says back, "Why are you yelling?" And then she puts a little more chakra into the seal, and she yells, "Can you still hear me?" And he goes, and he says back, "Yeah, why?" And she can't hear it, and she's like, "Okay, good." So she walks to her room and shuts the door. And Anko starts laughing. And then drags Kakashi into the room. And the way she's dragging him, he gets a nosebleed. Because it's not the, "Oh, I'm dragging you to interrogate you," it's the, "Oh, I'm dragging you to bed" kind of drag. So another year's pass, and Naruto is finally at the academy. I think I made her 8? Yeah, I think she's 8 now. No, she's 10 now. The academy is going to be a little longer than in canon. So she's 10 now. And Sasuke and her both walk into the academy because they walk from the same direction. They live, play, train. They do everything together, pretty much. Except for brooding and talking to people. Naruto at this point has gotten enough chakra and enough control and physical strength that a tail has formed. So she is a one-tailed kitsune. And the fourth Hokage is still hiding his tails and all that, and sees that she's already at her age a one-tailed. And he gets downed on how he is right now. And he thinks, if I was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, I probably would have already been a two-tailed at that level, at that age. Because of how... And then he thinks, but I was also a strange one. I probably would be. And Kakashi, seeing that she got her first tail, says, now you have to work extra hard on your chakra control. And Naruto asks, why would I have to work extra hard on my chakra control? Because my chakra control is still tuning level. And Kakashi immediately retorts back, if you don't work hard on your chakra control, you won't be as good as the 4th Hokage. Or your grandfather. And she still calls Hiruzen grandpa or old man. So then she pales and thinks, I want to be as good as them. No, I want to be better than them. I want to be the first female Hokage. And yes, the tuning exams are still going to happen, like they did in canon, with Orochimaru attacking. But it's going to happen a little different. It will. But she's in the academy with one tail, and Iruka sees this and scowls at her, but acts friendly. And I'm going to skip to the last year of the exam, with the exams, the Genin graduation exams, and Naruto aces the exams, and Iruka by this time has gotten to know her and found out that she's not the demon everybody says she is. And Iruka has made it his goal to make sure that she is the Konoichi of the year. To show that she's not the demon, she is a child that has the abilities like Minato. And then he starts thinking, isn't Minato blonde-haired and blue-eyed? And she's blonde-haired, blue-eyed with a slit down the center of her eyes. Then he starts thinking, yeah, she is. I should take this up with the 4th. And he takes this up with the 4th, and the 4th pales, thinking a normal tuning, an elite tuning like Iruka Sensei. Iruka figured it out. He's not hiding it good enough. He pales at this and asks, so how did you come to this conclusion? And Iruka saying, since I've become a Genin, you've always been as nice as Naruto has. And you've always been a prodigy like Naruto has been. Except for her chakra control, she's a prodigy in jutsus. And taijutsu. And weaponry. And Minato looks down, and he calls one of his Anbu and says, get Kakashi. And Iruka says, why are you getting her father? And Minato says, I'm not getting her father, I'm getting her adopted father. And Iruka's eyes widen, thinking, wait, she was an orphan? He walks in and he bows to the Hokage, saying, what can I do for you, Lord 4th? And then sees Iruka and says, did Naruto do something? And Iruka goes, no. She didn't do anything. The question is, are you her actual father, or is he? And points at the 4th Hokage. 4th Hokage looks down and goes, I'm her biological father, but since I have so many enemies and the hate of the Kyuubi, I had to send her away, and since I can't take care of her because of Kushina's death, and Iruka looks down going, oh, so everybody who's close to Naruto, except for Sasuke, knows her story. So Naruto has to do the Kararimi and the Henge the substitution jutsu and the transformation jutsu. So she does those, and they're perfectly fine, and she henges into a image of the Red Death. And Iruka says, why would you henge into a vestige of a Shinigami? And Naruto laughs and says, because I feel close to her and her style of fighting. And Iruka asks, what do you mean style of fighting? And Naruto reaches down and pumps chakra into a storage seal, and the sword pops out, and it's a Japanese katana, a two-handed Japanese katana, so it's a really long one. And she says, I prefer the one cut, clean kill style that she had. And Iruka sees the giant sword and asks, are you proficient in Kenjutsu? Ken, not Kin. Kinjutsu, K-I-N, is the forbidden jutsu, and Ken, K-E-N, is the sword styles. And she goes, yeah, I am a level 2 sword master. And Iruka's eyes widen, thinking that it's almost impossible for a not even Genin yet to be a level 2. And he goes, okay. And this is the last one of the day. This is the last student of the class. And Sasuke, who knew all this already, is just brooding in his corner still. And all the girls are falling all over him. But the only one who he actually recognizes as strong is Naruto. And by this time, the fourth has had her come in contact with the Kyuubi. And the Kyuubi has made a deal with Naruto. If she can learn, or whenever she learns how to walk up a waterfall, she can use his power. And when she came out of the mindscape and told the Hokage and all the people around her, and Yamato, the wood user, that she came in contact with the Kyuubi, and they made a deal, a lot more of a bet, that if she can't learn how to walk up a waterfall by the time that she's 20, which the Kyuubi knows that she's trash at chakra control, that she can't split a waterfall and walk up a waterfall, she won't be able to use his power ever, and he will always resist. Because the Kyuubi knows that once she turns 21, she's at her full power, and that he wants her to be the next Kyuubi. He doesn't want the job of being a Biju anymore, because he was a Kitsune that the Sage of Six Paths sealed some chakra from the Jubi into. Then he became the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox. He doesn't want that job anymore. He hates it. He's lonely. He doesn't talk to anybody. He hates it. He absolutely hates it. So he still gives her his chakra when she needs it, but he won't actively, oh, you're in danger, let me take over and save you. It's the, oh, you're in danger, here's some power so you can save your life. So Naruto, by the time that she graduates the um um the academy, she has the chakra control of a Kage. But she still can't walk up a waterfall yet. She can split it in half perfectly fine like Naruto did in canon. She can do that perfectly fine. She can't walk up it yet. And she's currently 15. Well, the day after, she'll be 15. So, when Iruka Sensei says you passed, and everybody, all the fangirls start saying, why did she get a pass and not Sasuke on the Bunshin? And then Iruka says, we don't have enough room, we don't have enough space in this room for all the Bunshins. That's the least that she can make. And they ask, how many Bunshins can she make? And Iruka says she has to make at least 100 for them to actually work. And everybody pales except for Shikamaru, who has put it together that she is the Kyuubi Jinchuriki from all the hateful glares of Konoha. Because everybody still sees the glares and glares at Naruto, but no one actually attacks her, thinking that, oh, she's better dead, because they know that the Kyuubi can't die. So, when Iruka gives her her headband, she puts it on her head and walks out of the classroom and says, Iruka, I'm going to try to walk up a waterfall. I may be gone for a little bit, so if I don't show up tomorrow, just come find me at the training ground I normally go to. And everybody asks, what does she mean, walk up a waterfall? Then Iruka has to go into Kage level chakra control drills and tell them that the highest level of chakra control for a wind user is the ability to walk up a waterfall. By controlling a lot of wind, they can stick to the waterfall a little bit and push themselves up with wind. The next day, Naruto still hasn't gotten home, and Sasuke is getting a little worried because he was brooding and not paying attention when she left. And Iruka shows up and asks, "Is Naruto here? Is Naruto here yet?" And Kakashi and Sasuke go, "No," and he goes, "Yeah, she's currently at the training field that she normally goes to, but I think she trained all night. I'll go fetch her." And Kakashi says, "No," and does a summoning jutsu and gets Pakun. And he has Pakun go wake her up. So Pakun goes and wakes up Naruto, and when Naruto wakes up, she sees Pakun and gives him scratches and starts talking to him, and Pakun starts talking to her and having fun with her. And when it's like noon, he goes, "Oh crap, we gotta go home. You gotta go home." And Naruto looks up and sees the sun directly above her and goes, "Oh yeah, today's the day." And Pakun goes, "What do you mean today's the day?" And she goes, "Today's the day I get training from the 4th Hokage and the 3rd Hokage." And when she gets home, she sees a yellow flash arrive in her living room with 2 people. Oh, a phone call. Oops. I forgot to lock my screen. There we go. There we go. But she sees a yellow flash arrive in her living room, and the 4th and 3rd Hokages are standing right there. And she goes, "Yay!" and hugs the fourth and third Hokage because she still sees them as family. And the fourth chuckles a little and hands her the scroll to the Flying Raijin. And Naruto is like, "What is this?" And he goes, "That's a jutsu that you need to learn to find out who your father is. Your real father." And she goes, "Wait, Kakashi isn't my father?" And he goes, "He's your dad. He's the one who's been taking care of you. But your father has many enemies." And Hiruzen at this point is like, "Just god dang, tell her. She's a Genin. Just tell her." So Minato beats around the bush of who her father is, and she's like, "Okay, I'll learn this as fast as possible to find out who my father is." And so she starts learning the Flying Raijin, and she doesn't know it's the Flying Raijin yet, but she starts learning it. So then she gets training from Hiruzen on what to feel when you gather up a lot of wind chakra to walk up a waterfall. Because I'm saying Minato doesn't have all 5 chakra natures. He has 2, water and lightning chakra. And I'm saying that the Flying Raijin is a lightning chakra base. So she starts learning the Flying Raijin after a training session with Hiruzen for the Kage level of waterfall climbing. And then it's a week later, team placements. And the day of team placements, the Kyuubi pulls her into the mindscape and says that there is one clan that cannot be summoned but still has a summoning contract. And the title of the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox, the person who holds the title of the creature that holds the title of the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox, is the one who controls this contract. And he explains this contract and says that I'm passing it on soon because he knows that Naruto is so determined that she wants to understand and win a bet with the Ninetales. Because what she really said was, "I bet that I could do a Kage level chakra control exercise, and if I win, you have to tell me more about yourself." And the Ninetales was already planning on giving her his full power when she reached 20. But he's like, "Okay, I'll tell you more about myself when you can complete this Kage level exercise of walking up a waterfall. And I'll give you my full power." So this is team placements now, and she walks in, and Iruka starts going over team placements, and all of a sudden it says Team 7, Kakashi Hatake. And he starts listing off Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha. And he's like, "Don't say me, don't say me, don't say me. Naruko Uzumaki." And Naruko's like, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. And then he goes through the rest of the list, and then he goes, your Jonin senseis will be here in a little bit. And Naruto says, no, he won't. And Sasuke goes, yeah, I know. Shunshuin there? She goes, it's kind of his private time when he goes there. But sure. So Naruto grabs Sakura's hand and says, we're going to be there in a flash. And instead of Leaf Shunshuin, which everybody's looking at them like, wait, they can do a Shunshuin? And instead of the Leaf Shunshuin, Naruto does a Lightning Shunshuin. And Sasuke does a Fire Shunshuin. And Naruto says, that was boring. I like my Water Shunshuin a little bit better. And Sasuke goes, I like your Lightning Shunshuin a lot better than my Fire Shunshuin. I should try doing a Lightning Shunshuin. And Naruto goes, sure, I can teach you how to do a Lightning Shunshuin if you teach me how to do a Fire one, because that looked a lot better than my Lightning. And he goes, sure. And they're currently talking at the training field 7, which is like a 10, like a, no, not 10, 100, 150 yards away from the memorial stone, because he's still mourning the loss of Ren and Obito, and now his sensei's wife, Kushina, because he thinks that he's been useless and that he needs to redeem himself. And all of a sudden he hears Sasuke and Naruto chatting it up about teaching each other jutsus. So he turns around and goes, what the hell are you doing here? And they say, team placements were 10 minutes ago. You're late. He goes, yeah, sorry, and starts scratching the back of his head. And they go, no matter. So what are we doing now? And he goes, I was going to say go to the roof when I arrived, but let's go to the training ground. So they go back to the training ground, and he goes, now time to introduce ourselves. And they go through the normal, and instead of Sasuke refusing to say his goals, likes, and dislikes, he says his likes are people, and he completely avoids Naruto asking which people. He completely avoids it. His dislikes being traitors and people who want to harm the people he likes. And Sakura is like, please be me, please be me, please be me. I want him to be the one that, I want him to like me. And Kakashi has been watching Naruto and Sasuke and Kakashi already knows who Sasuke likes. There we go. Why was that really hard to say? So he's like, okay, and what's your goal? And he says, I want to crush a brother for killing my clan. And Kakashi goes, okay, good goal. And then he moves on to Naruto. And then after everybody says their goal, he then asks Sasuke, how are you going to achieve your goal? And then he turns to Naruto, how are you going to achieve your goal? And then he turns to Sakura and says, what was your goal again? And Naruto then Shunshuins behind Kakashi and does the trademark for the Kakashi fight of the 10,000 years of death, and Kakashi goes flying. And he goes, never mind. The question is, how are you going to reach yours? And with a seeming rear, his rear still steaming, and he's in pain. And Sasuke chuckled at that, and without anybody noticing, Naruto included, was blushing about it. Blushing about Sasuke chuckling. And then a month goes by, and in that month, Naruto's second tail shows up. So she's as strong as the fourth Hokage. When her second tail showed up, Kakashi immediately ran to Shunshuin to the fourth Hokage and busted into his office while he's currently having a conversation with one of the uh, academy teachers, and the teacher was Iruka Sensei. And Kakashi busting in frightened Iruka, and uh, um, the Anbu jumped down because they saw someone was frightened, and they react to the emotion of all the people and of the people in the room and the urgency of the threat, and they see that it's Kakashi, and they look down in disappointment because they're about to get their ass kicked by the Hokage for reacting to something minuscule, especially the sensor ninja, because he was supposed to sense that there was no threat. And with the urgency of Kakashi busting in the room, the fourth used his Flying Thunder God and sent Kakashi and him to his house. And Kakashi, being shocked that he was immediately teleported somewhere else, that was for a few seconds, then gathered his thoughts, said, "She's as strong as you." And then started panting because he was a little tired from running and then immediately talking. Because he ran from the opposite side of the village at full speed, which is very tiring for people who don't run very much. So the fourth goes, okay. Question: What color is her second tail? And Kakashi goes, the color of her second tail is red. And Minato goes, okay, first tail's gonna turn red. And Kakashi asks, why does the color matter? And Minato says the color matters because that's the next nature that she's mastered. The first tail was when she mastered wind. Do you not remember that? And Kakashi thinks back to when Naruto was acting somewhat like a cat a little. Or, yeah, somewhat like a cat a little. And fighting him because they did training spars and used her hands instead of a kunai and cut his kunai in half. And they snaps back to reality and goes, yeah, I remember that. That was the day before that she mastered, or that was the day before when I noticed that she was a master of wind jutsu, or the wind nature. So now she has fire. And when she got her second tail, she thought that having two tails is just too much to work with, and she thought of just having one, and her first tail disappeared. And Kakashi reported that to the Hokage, not as urgent though, and the Hokage, Minato, said, it's fine. That's my innate ability, and she probably got it from me to transform and hide stuff without much effort. And Kakashi's like, okay, that makes sense now. So, the rest of the team walks into the office, and they ask, what's the matter, Kakashi? You looked a little freaked. And Osaka asks what's the matter, because he looks a little calmer than when he first arrived. And he's like, nothing. It's all good now. I sorted it out. And next thing that happened was a messenger pigeon says that the Genin team not a messenger pigeon, a messenger hawk, a Genin team that was assigned to protect Tazuna has been killed. Tazuna is currently still in the Fire Nation, though, and has found refuge with a Jonin squad, and they're sitting still right now and waiting for his new escorts. And he looks at his biological daughter and thinks this could be a good test to see if she can master her chakra control. He throws each of them a jutsu scroll. He throws Sakura the mystical palm technique and says, you are to master chakra control then, and use that. You seem like a good healer. And Sakura goes, okay. He then respectfully says, yes, Hi Hokage-sama, which is just going, yes, Lord Fourth. Then he looks to Sasuke and says, that is a fire jutsu from my personal collection of Uzumaki jutsus. And Sasuke's eyes widen, thinking, wait, this is a Uzumaki clan jutsu? And then he looks at Naruto and says, this is a jutsu I personally made that I feel like you would have a better time mastering than I did. And you may be able to finish it, because I feel like you have some great things coming to you. And to make this not look weird, he's done this to all the Genin teams of this generation. And he said in his last speech that there's something weird about this generation, and that there's something big coming. So he's put his village first and said that I'm going to help the Genins get stronger. So now he has given every single Genin a jutsu. He's given Shino Aburame water jutsus. He's given Choji Akamichi earth jutsus. He's given Shikamaru Nara wind jutsus. He's given Ino Yamanaka lightning jutsus. He's given Kiba wind. He's given them all like natures that they have. So when Naruto heard that the fourth has yet to finish a jutsu, she opens it up immediately and reads the first word, Rasengan. And Kakashi's visible eye widens and goes, Lord Fourth, do you really think that she's capable of using that? And he goes, yes, I feel like she's the next version of me in this generation. And saying, yeah, she is the next version of you. So he goes, thank you, Hokage, and goes off and does a B rank with his team. When they finally get to the Jonin squad, that's Naruto and Sasuke, Naruto first uses the Great Breakthrough, and Sasuke then uses a fire jutsu on Zabuza. And sees that it was a water bunshin, and immediately uses a lightning jutsu. Because there's water all over the floor. And when Sasuke was using basically a flamethrower version of the fireball jutsu, Kakashi used shadow clones, and Naruto used shadow clones to get all the Jonins out of there. And then Sasuke used electromagnetic murder, which zapped Zabuza a little and made him start twitching. So he can't completely do hand signs without a little twitch here and there to disrupt the jutsu a little bit. So they're not as strong. And Kakashi still gets stuck in a water prison. But this time, Naruto has twice the speed that normal Naruto at this point did. 3 times the strength. And 5 times the chakra levels without the Kyuubi. So, she starts throwing jutsus left and right, and Zabuza can't keep up because of her hand sign speed and her strength in general, because she can block the Executioner's Blade, or Kubikiri Bocho, Zabuza's Executioner Blade. She can block it, which he's completely dumbfounded as to how. So he then takes his hand out of the water prison and starts doing another jutsu. And this time, this jutsu is a secret jutsu that only Zabuza knows. Because I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking that instead of Zabuza just being a normal person, I'd give him a bloodline. And that the Hidden Mist jutsu is a jutsu that everybody can use, but it has a downside. Constantly saps chakra. But Zabuza has a better version. And he goes, Mist Demon's Endless Mist Maze, which is basically the Hidden Mist jutsu, but he has the Mist Kekkei Genkai, that no matter what he does, his Mist jutsus that come from a Kekkei Genkai. It's open over there, dummy! My cat's being dumb. Fine, go into the garage. But, back on topic. So, he does the Demon of the Mist Maze, or Mist Demon's Mist Maze. And all of a sudden, everybody can't see a single centimeter in front of their face. And Naruto tries using Great Breakthrough again, but it doesn't work. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It was a split second for you, but it was like a minute for me. Anyway, so he's about to swing down on the bridge builder, Tazuna, and then Naruto, using her Kitsune abilities, brings her tail back and uses it to grab Tazuna and throw him out of the way. Then she has perfect control over her tails, and they're not mindless creatures, so they just do what she tells them to do. She has thrown Tazuna outside of the mist. So Tazuna is just waiting for them to end, and then all of a sudden the mist ends and Zabuza is currently sitting on the floor. Oops. It's 3 o'clock. Cool. Sitting on the floor, exhausted, and with a sin bone in his neck. And since Naruko knows a lot about the Kekkei Genkais of other villages, and because she would probably have to fight them, she's learned a lot about other Kekkei Genkais. She knows that the Mist Demon, the last one to hold this Kekkei Genkai, is Zabuza. And that when he's in the mist, that he's almost untouchable. The only way to touch him is if he is about to touch somebody. So it's been a minute since he's tried to attack somebody, so Naruko is thinking that the person who's about to come to collect Zabuza is not friendly. And so Zabuza gets collected by Haku, and Naruko tells Kakashi after Haku leaves that Zabuza's probably not dead. And Kakashi goes, yeah, I saw his chakra network slowly fading, but not completely fade away. And normally, Anbu of any village burn the bodies right there and only take their heads. Well, that's why he's being a butt. You're being a butt. You're blocking the entrance. My cat Jack is blocking the entrance for my other cat. Well, I'm going to end it here, because I like where I've taken it. So, they're currently at Tazuna's house. Kakashi is a little tired. He's not as badly hurt, and since Naruko, Sasuke, and Sakura have the scrolls, Kakashi just says, I'll teach you guys chakra control. And then he goes out to the trees the next day, and he teaches Sakura how to walk up a tree, and he teaches Sasuke how to walk up a wall that is slightly slick with water. Because I'm saying that fire users can heat up the bottom of their feet to evaporate the water that's against the wall, so they can stick better onto walls. While wind users just put chakra all around them to control the wind so they can walk up normally. So Naruko and Sasuke are currently training chakra control, and Sakura is currently trying to walk up a tree. Trying. She's not as good as she was in canon. So she learns how to do that, and where I'm going to leave off is Kakashi showing her the bag of sand. And yes, I'm taking this off of the legacy because I didn't see this ever happening in the show, and I didn't see it in the manga. I've skimmed through the manga a little because I wanted to research, and I researched, and I didn't see it. But it's 5 colors of sand, and you have to organize it as fast as possible in rows. So he tells her how to do it and what to do, so she starts doing it, and I'm going to leave it off there. So Sakura is currently training chakra control, high Kage level chakra control. Sasuke is learning how to walk up a wet wall, and Naruko is still training on how to walk up a waterfall. So I'm gonna leave it right there. See you guys in the next video. Remember, if you like it. If you like so much, actually like it, But if you like my content and you want to see more, please think about subscribing, because I try to post at least 2 a day, maybe 3, because I'm already posting something right now, and it's currently uploading. Oh, Celestials is good. So, I'll have to look at that later. Yeah, she's gonna look at like this when she gets to the waterfall. Yes, I'm going all the way to the War Arc with this one. I like the idea of this. This is what the evil version of her is gonna look like. Kaneki! Sorry. But that's more what she looks like right now. But with the headband on her forehead and yeah, that's just it. The headband's on her forehead, and she looks like that. So, talk to you guys later. See ya. Goodbye.